Welcome to The Parent Thing. Hi, I'm Tarryn, your host, and I'm so excited you're here. This is the space where we uncover the incredible potential of childhood, parenting, and the power of neuro-somatic intelligence. Whether you're a parent, teacher, caregiver, or someone who deeply impacts a child's life, this podcast is your guide to nurturing emotional resilience, fostering growth, and building meaningful connections. Together, we'll explore cutting-edge insights, practical tools, and heartfelt stories to empower you in shaping the next generation. Join me each week as we dive into strategies, science, and stories that inspire and transform. Let's reimagine what's possible for the children we care about and for ourselves. Now, let's begin this inspiring journey together. Hey there, and welcome back to The Parent Thing. I'm your host, Tarryn, and today we're diving into something that might just change the way you see parenting forever. We're talking about the parent-child nervous system connection and how your stress, your emotional state, and even your internal world directly affects your child's behavior, development, and sense of safety. Now, if you're listening and already feeling a little pang of guilt, take a breath. This episode is not about blame. It's about understanding. Because once you understand what's really happening beneath the surface, you gain power. The kind of power that transforms not only your parenting, but your entire relationship with your child. So, let's get started. I want you to imagine this for a moment. You and your child are sitting together, maybe doing homework, or you're at the dinner table, or you're just getting ready for bed. And suddenly your child starts melting down. Tears, frustration, yelling. You feel your body tense up. Maybe your shoulders rise, your breath gets shallow, your heart rate picks up. Before you even say anything, your child feels it. Because here's the truth. Our nervous systems are in constant conversation, even when we're silent. From the moment our babies are born, they are not learning safety through our words, they're learning it through our body language, our tone of voice, our energy, and our regulation. You are your child's first nervous system. Let that sink in for a second. I'm going to say it again. You are your child's first nervous system. Your child's ability to self-regulate, to calm down, to recover from stress, to focus, to manage emotions begins by co-regulating with you. So, what do I actually mean when I say that your child's ability to self-regulate begins by co-regulating with you? Neuroscience and in the world of neurosomatic intelligence, which I will refer to as NSI, we talk about co-regulation as the state of your nervous system, how safe or unsafe your brain feels in the world. When your brain feels safe, your body can rest, digest, connect, learn, and play. When your brain feels unsafe, it goes into protection, F response, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, any one of those. Now, children are born without the mature ability to regulate those states. Their brains are still developing, especially the prefrontal cortex, which helps with impulse control, decision making, and emotional regulation. What helps that part of the brain grow and wire correctly is safe connection. When you respond calmly to your child's meltdown, when you breathe slowly, when you stay grounded, your nervous system signals to theirs, you are safe, I'm here, we can handle this. And little by little, their brain learns safety through you. That's co-regulation. Your nervous system teaching theirs how to return to calm. Between birth and about the age of 7, a child's brain is like a sponge, but not just for language or numbers. It's absorbing states of being. Every smile, every soothing tone, every moment you comfort them, those are all shaping their stress response systems. And equally, when their environment feels chaotic, unpredictable, or emotionally disconnected, the child's brain begins to wire for survival rather than connection. Think of it this way. The nervous system is always asking one question. Am I safe or am I in danger? If the answer is safe, The child system can open up to learning, curiosity, and play. If the answer is danger, even in subtle ways, tension in your voice, exhaustion in your face, emotional absence, the child system moves into protection. That protection might look like what we call or what we label as bad behavior: tantrums, defiance, clinginess, withdrawal, inattention. But beneath all of that is a nervous system saying, I don't feel safe. Let's talk about something fascinating: emotional contagion. This refers to how humans unconsciously synchronize their emotions and physiological states with others through mirror neurons and our vagus nerve communication. We've all experienced this before. You walk into a room where someone is anxious and suddenly you feel tense. Or you go to a concert that you have been so excited to go to and the energy is electric and you feel excited, you feel that energy. Or you're around someone who's peaceful, who's grounded, and your whole body starts to relax. That's not imagination. That's your nervous system reading another person's nervous system. Children are masters of this. Their brains are still forming and they're incredibly sensitive to our emotional cues. So when you're stressed, even if you're saying, I'm fine, your child feels that incongruence. They sense something is off, and because their little brain depends on your state for their safety, they often try to fix it by acting out, by getting louder, or even by shutting down. That's their way of saying, Mom, Dad, something doesn't feel right. Are we okay? Let's reframe how we think about our child's behavior. Let's talk about state before story, meaning your nervous system state comes before your thoughts on your child's behavior story. So before you think, why is my child doing this? The question becomes, what's happening in my body right now? Are my shoulders tense? Am I breathing? Am I holding my jaw tight? Is my heart racing? Because your body is broadcasting safety or threat all the time, and your child is tuned into that signal. When you learn to regulate yourself first, even before you address your child's behavior, you begin to shift the entire dynamic. You are not reacting from stress, you are responding from safety. In NSI, we understand that the brain's number one job is to keep you safe. So when it senses stress, whether that's from external chaos or your own internal pressure, it prioritizes survival over connection. That's why you can't logic a child out of tantrum. You can't teach emotional control to a brain that is in survival mode. And the same goes for you. You can't parent calmly when your nervous system is dysregulated. This is why regulation work starts with you, because you are the emotional thermostat of your home. When your nervous system feels grounded, your child has permission to settle too. Let me share a story from one of my client sessions. A mom came to me completely overwhelmed. Her 5-year-old was having daily meltdowns over brushing teeth, getting dressed, and even putting their shoes on. She had tried everything: behavior charts, consequences, timeouts. Nothing worked. I'll save timeouts for another day and why they are ineffective, but I digress, we move on. When we started working together, instead of focusing on the child's behavior, I asked her, what happens in your body when those meltdowns starts? She paused and said, my heart races, my chest tightens, and I feel trapped, like I'm about to explode. So that's where we started. We practiced gentle NSI based drills to bring her body back into regulation, breathing through her diaphragm, softening her jaw, moving her eyes slowly side to side to signal safety. Within a few weeks, something powerful happened. Her daughter's meltdowns became shorter, then less frequent, until one day the mom said, it's like she's calmer because I'm calmer. And she was right, because nervous systems don't heal in isolation, they heal in connection. So, right now, I want to invite you into a short reflection. If you're driving or walking, you can do this mentally. Ask yourself these questions. Number one, what does my body feel like most days around my child? Number two, do I often feel rushed, tense, distracted, or anxious? Number three, do I feel present, calm, and connected? No judgment, just awareness. Because awareness is the first step towards regulation. And I want you to remember this. You don't have to be a perfectly calm parent. In fact, that parent doesn't exist. You just have to be a regulated enough parent. Repair matters more than perfection. Before we move on to the second segment, because I've written the episode in 3 segments, so before we move on to the second segment, let's just wrap up what we've spoken about so far. Your nervous system and your child's are in a constant dance. When you regulate, they learn safety. When you're dysregulated, they feel unsafe. Again, this is not about guilt, it's about opportunity because you, as the adult, have the power to change the pattern at any time. In the next segment, we're going to explore how your stress specifically shows up in your child's behavior, the ripple effects, the patterns, and how to start breaking those cycles for good. And if you're listening right now and thinking, I really want to start doing this, but I don't know how or where to begin, I want to invite you to download my Calm Parent Starter Kit. It is completely free and it's a beautiful way to begin rewiring your nervous system and building calm from the inside out. You can find it at the link that I'm going to leave in my description notes. It's also in my bio on my Instagram and TikTok pages. Right, take a deep breath, maybe stretch your body a little, and I'll meet you in the second segment where we'll unpack the stress ripple effect and what your child's behavior is really trying to tell you. Okay, now we're going to take it one step deeper. We're going to look at what happens when you are not regulated. Because even with the best intentions, even with all the parenting books and strategies, when our stress levels rise, when our body is saying, I'm not safe, it ripples outward into our homes. Let's talk about how that happens, what it looks like, and how you can start to notice those patterns without judgment, just curiosity. Have you ever dropped a pebble into still water? You watch the ripples spread, soft, circular, expanding outwards until they reach their edges. That's exactly what happens with stress in a family. Your internal state, your heart rate, your breathing, your tone, all of it sends waves through your environment, and your child, who is wired for connection, picks up on those waves instantly. So when you're rushed in the morning, when you're juggling too much, when you're holding unprocessed tension, your child feels it, even if you're not saying anything. And their nervous system reacts, not to punish you, not to misbehave, but to adapt to the environment their brain senses. I am going to bring in the NSI lens for a moment. Your nervous system has 3 main survival responses when it perceives threat. There's fight, to move towards the threat. So you have anger, control, defensiveness. Or you have a flight reaction where you move away, anxiety, busyness, or distraction. Then you have a freeze reaction, which is a shutdown, numbness, disconnection, and burnout. Now, here's the fascinating and humbling truth. Your child's nervous system mirrors yours. So when you go into fight mode, maybe you're short-tempered, reactive, snappy, your child might also go into fight, arguing, defying, yelling back. When you go into flight, rushing, overdoing, and avoiding, your child might get clingy or anxious. And when you go into freeze, when you're emotionally distant or exhausted, your child might seem detached or zoned out. It's not behavioral coincidence, it's nervous system synchronization. One of the most liberating shifts you can make as a parent is to stop seeing behavior as bad and start seeing it as communication. Every tantrum, every meltdown, every no is your child's nervous system saying, something in me feels unsafe. When we meet that behavior with punishment or disconnection, we miss the message. But when we pause and ask, what is this behavior trying to tell me? We open the door to healing instead of control. And that starts with your regulation. Because when you stay grounded, your child's brain gets the message, it's okay. You don't have to carry my stress. I've got you. Let's play this out with something we've all experienced. Mornings. You're running late, the lunch boxes aren't packed, someone can't find their shoes, you can feel your pulse rise, your voice tightening, your child senses this, and suddenly they're moving slower. They start whining or crying or refusing to get dressed, and it's easy to think, why is this happening? Don't they see I'm stressed? Can't they just cooperate? But here's what's really going on. Your nervous system shifted into fight or flight, and theirs is responding in kind. Their brain doesn't interpret your stress as mom's busy, it interprets it as mom's unsafe, the world isn't safe, I need to protect myself. So their behavior becomes protective, not defiant. They slow down because their nervous system is overloaded. They melt down because their brain is looking for reassurance that it's safe. And that's where your awareness becomes the game changer. When you pause, take a deep breath, soften your voice, maybe even crouch down to their level, you're sending a new signal. The world is safe again. And that one shift from reacting to regulating resets both your nervous systems. Let's nerd out for a second because this part is just incredible. Your brain is equipped with mirror neurons, cells that literally mimic the emotional state of others. It's how we feel empathy. When your child cries, your brain lights up in the same regions as if you were crying. And when you calm yourself, your child's brain begins to mirror that too. Now, the main pathway for that connection is the vagus nerve, the superhighway between your brain and body that communicates calm or threat. When you slow your breathing, relax your facial muscles, and soften your tone, your vagus nerve activates your parasympathetic system, your rest and digest state. That energy becomes contagious. You don't even have to tell your child to calm down, your body does the talking. You've probably had this moment or a moment very similar where you think you're hiding your stress pretty well, and your child looks up and says, Mom, are you mad at me? And then you're caught off guard, right? Because maybe you weren't even angry at them. You were just overwhelmed, distracted, or tired. But to a child, especially a child under 10, your energy equals their safety. So when your energy shifts, even subtly, they feel it in their body first before they understand it with words. That's why your child may become extra clingy when you're anxious or extra defiant when you're tense. They're not trying to make it harder, they're trying to regulate through you. It is not disobedience, it's biology. Now let's zoom out even further because many of us are parenting with nervous systems that never learned true safety. Maybe you grew up in a home where emotions weren't safe. Maybe you were told to be strong, to stop crying, or to just be grateful instead of being comforted. Maybe stress was constant and your nervous system learned to stay on high alert just to survive. And now you're raising a child who triggers those same stress responses in you, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because their emotional intensity touches the places in you that never got to be soothed. That's why parenting is one of the most powerful invitations to heal. Your child gives you daily opportunities to rewire your nervous system to learn safety, connection, and regulation, often for the first time. This is the heart of breaking generational cycles. Let me tell you about another mom I've worked with. We'll call her Sarah. Her 7-year-old son was constantly acting out, and I have that in air quotes. He couldn't sit still, he talked back, and he seemed to push every button she had. In our session, she admitted that she feels like she's always on edge, that she yells before she even means to, and then she feels awful afterwards. We explored what her body felt like in those moments. She noticed tightness in her chest, heat in her throat, and a wave of panic that she never put to words before. It turned out those sensations weren't new. They were echoes from her own childhood, moments where she'd been yelled at, dismissed, or made to feel small. Her son's behavior was simply activating old survival responses. Once she learned NSI regulation tools, grounding, breath, gentle eye movement drills, she began to interrupt these patterns. She could feel her stress rising and then choose to slow down her breath before reacting. One day she told me she realized it was never really about him. It was all about her nervous system trying to protect her from all those old memories. That's the moment transformation happens, when awareness becomes healing. Your stress doesn't just shape your child's behavior, it also shapes the story you tell yourself about your child. When you're regulated, you see your child's big emotions as communication. When you're dysregulated, you see them as defiance. Same behavior, different interpretation. That's why nervous system work is so foundational to parenting, because it changes the lens you see through. Instead of thinking, my child is giving me a hard time, you start to think, my child is having a hard time and they need help to feel safe again. That shift creates compassion, and compassion is what wires both brains towards safety and connection. Let's try and pause for a short reflection again. You can even say these quietly to yourself. So think about how your stress usually shows up in your child's behavior. Think about when you're anxious or overwhelmed. What do you notice in your child? And think about what your child seems to need the most from you in those moments. Is it reassurance? Is it space? Or is it calm energy? Just bringing awareness to those patterns begins to change them. Because what you can name, you can regulate. So, to close this segment, your stress is not the enemy, it's information. It's your nervous system saying, I need support. And when you learn to listen to it with curiosity instead of shame, you begin to change your child's nervous system too. That's the beauty of this connection. When you heal, they heal. When you calm your body, theirs follows. When you show up differently, the entire emotional climate of your home begins to shift. In the next segment, we're going to move away from awareness to action. I'm going to guide you through practical NSI based regulation tools, simple science backed ways to regulate your own nervous system, and help your child's body feel safe again. And remember, if you want to start today, I have created a free resource for you, the Calm Parent Starter Kit. It's full of tools. It's got 5 tools and practices to help you begin rewiring your nervous system and cultivating calm from within. You can download it by clicking the link in the show notes, as well as on my Instagram and TikTok bios. Take a breath, unclench your jaw, maybe stretch your shoulders, and we're going to keep going with some practical tools to help you. Okay, this is the part I love the most, where awareness turns into action. Because knowledge is beautiful, but transformation happens when you start embodying it, when you begin to practice regulation daily. So let's dive into some powerful, simple NSI tools that you can use to regulate your nervous system and in turn help your child feel safe, connected, and calm. Step 1. Remember that regulation starts with you. I want to start with a truth that might sound simple but is incredibly profound. Your child's ability to regulate begins with your willingness to go first. You can't teach calm from a dysregulated state. You can't coach emotional intelligence when your body feels unsafe. So before any parenting tool, before any strategy, we begin with you. And I want you to hear this clearly. This is not selfish. This is not indulgent. This is necessary. When you regulate yourself, you're not only changing your child's experience, you're changing your family's emotional DNA. This is your first and most powerful tool. It's not fancy. It doesn't require equipment or a script. It simply requires awareness. When you feel yourself getting triggered, your heart's racing, your voice is rising, your jaw is clenching, pause. And in that pause, ask, what is my body doing right now? Not what is my child doing, but what is my body doing right now? Then take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 2. And exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 counts. Do that twice. That one pause, that one intentional breath interrupts the survival response and gives your brain time to choose regulation over reaction. It's the bridge between your instinct and your wisdom. You can even say it out loud if you need to model it for your child. Mommy needs a moment to calm her body. When you do that, you're not only regulating yourself, you're teaching your child what emotional safety looks like. Our second practical tool today is an eye drill. Okay, so when your brain senses threat, your visual system often becomes narrow and tunnel focused. That's a survival mechanism. To bring your system back to safety, you can gently retrain your visual field. So try this. You're going to keep your head still and slowly move your eyes from left to right for about 5 to 6 times. Then you're going to look up and down a few times, remembering to keep your head still, and it's literally just your eyes moving. And then finally, look around your environment, notice colors, textures, shapes that you may see. This reorients your brain to the present moment and sends signals of safety through your vagus nerve. You can even do this with your child, make it playful, say, let's find 5 things we can see, or can you spot something blue? It brings both your nervous systems back into connection and calm. Let's do one more drill for today, and that's going to be the touch reset. Touch is one of the most powerful regulators of the nervous system. When you place your hand over your heart or gently over your diaphragm, your body receives the message, I am safe in my body right now. Or try this. One hand over your heart, one hand on your belly. Inhale and feel both hands rise slightly. Exhale and feel your shoulders drop. You can even hum quietly. Humming stimulates your vagus nerves, which calms your whole system. This can also become a beautiful co-regulation tool with your child when they are overwhelmed. Sit beside them and say softly, let's put our hands on our hearts and take a big breath together. That physical connection communicates more than any words ever could. Now, here's something super important. This isn't about being perfect. There will still be moments where you lose it, where you snap, or cry, or walk away. That's okay. Regulation is not about never getting dysregulated. It's about recognizing it sooner and recovering faster. And every time you do that, you're teaching your child resilience. You're showing them that it's okay to be human, that safety can always be rebuilt, and that repair is possible. This is the long game of nervous system parenting, consistent, compassionate practice that builds deep emotional safety over time. I'll end this with a story from another family that I worked with. A mom and dad came to me saying, we just want the yelling to stop. Our house feels chaotic. They started implementing small NSI practices, 10-second breathing pauses before they respond, eye movement drill during transitions, and family reset breaths before dinner. After a few months, the mom said, "It's not that our kids never fight, it's that we don't yell anymore. We breathe first, and somehow that changes everything." That's the power of nervous system work. It doesn't just change behavior, it changes the energy in your home. So, as we close today, I want you to take this with you. You are the calm your child needs. You are their model for safety. And the more you heal your own stress patterns, the freer your child becomes to grow, explore, and connect. You don't need to be a perfect parent. You just need to be a present, regulated one. Your nervous system is the foundation for your child's emotional work. And that's not pressure, that's power. If this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend, post about it on social media, or leave a review. That's how this message of calm, connected parenting reaches more families who need it. Thank you for being here, for showing up, and for doing the brave work of healing your nervous system, not just for you, but for your children and for the generations to come. Until next time, I'm Tarryn, and this is The Parent Thing.
Thank you for tuning into The Parenting. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions, feedback,